Hi everybody, Debbie Dubois here again to speak with you a little bit more about 3D consciousness versus 5D consciousness. The last time we spoke, we talked a little bit about the differences, and I've had a lot of people ask me questions. How do you get into a 5D conscious state more? And how do you know, when you're in 5D and when you're in 3D. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that. The key becomes how to go from 3D consciousness to 5D consciousness. And a lot of that is from letting go. And the best way to learn to let go of something is to become triggered. And we talked a little bit about button pressing and how when you become more 5D perspective, you get triggered less often. Well, it's actually what you do with being triggered that allows you to move up to a higher consciousness. And so button pressers become your best friend. And those people who you're extremely heart connected with are going to be the ones that mirror that to you most. So they really truly are your best friends as they push your buttons. And it's really an interesting process to become conscious of and to embrace. And it almost is like you change your perspective on being set off. So something comes along and someone says something in particular and you go, ah! What I do now, I've learned through much repetition, is when I'm triggered, I ask myself, what is this trigger showing me about myself? What is it that I'm not seeing about myself that your automatic reaction is to say, that person just did something to me. As soon as I feel that way, and I have a 18-year-old daughter, and she triggers me all the time. Now I will stop everything, and instead of going off the wall and chasing her down the street, because it's so tempting, instead of doing that, I will stop and I will say, what is it that I am supposed to learn to let go of right now? What is it that has happened that I'm real sensitive to? Was I just told that I'm too picky and I am too picky and that, I already had that button pressed? Can I let go of it? Can I just say, oh, yeah, that's something I'm very sensitive to. Can I just let it go? There are a lot of different ways to let things go. I talk about Ho'oponopono, which is, you can Google it. It's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, and I love you. And basically saying it over and over again until you release whatever energy is behind the feeling that you have. It's a clearing technique. And I highly suggest that you Google it, Ho'oponopono. One of my very best friends has taught me a lot about the Sedona method, which is letting go of the wants of certain things. And it's a technique that I will also use when I'm triggered. And, we can talk more about those things, but you can Google that as well. Whatever works for you. For me personally, I've gotten to where I really do envision holding a pencil in my hand. Where's a pencil? I have one. Pencil in the hand. Hold on to it really, really tight. When I feel that I can let go of whatever it is that's bothering me, I drop it just like that. and it's gone. Everything that triggers you is coming up to be cleared. It's just coming up to say, okay, this has been there. This is not helpful. Goodbye. I don't need this anymore. The more you do that, the less you feel a sense of frustration or a sense of I have no control, or I just feel that it's actually started to help me step into my authentic being, because everything that triggers me is just a falsehood. It is fallacy. It is me condemning me for things that I think I've done. And what's interesting is now that I see that, when other people are triggered, I'm actually really able to stop and say, oh, that person's really triggered. This really triggered them. What is this? What are they saying to themselves? They're not mad at me. They're really mad at themselves for something. And when you start to realize that, it gives you a brand new perspective. And that really is what 5D is. It's a new perspective above a 3D perspective. And so when I talk about 3D and 5D, 5D is a certain level of consciousness, that's true. But even more than that, it is an ability to pull out a different perspective, using different senses, using more expanded consciousness, using more knowledge that's coming from your inner self. And I saw this great video, and I'm going to look for it and see if I can't put it in this post under comments. It was this little flat circle that was running around on a piece of paper, flat. And they only knew how to go forward, backward, side to side. And then something came along above them and said, hello, I'm up here. And she said, up there, what's up there? And she said, I can't see anything up there. I'm here. Where are you? And, well, I'm above you. Well, what does above you mean? Well, I can just see from a different perspective. Well, I don't understand what that means. What do you mean a different perspective? And he said, well, from here, I see your house and here are all your different rooms. I can tell from this perspective that you have some money lying on your dresser over here. How can you see that? This flat spot saying, how can you see that? I just have a higher perspective. And I thought that that was a fantastic way to show what dimensions are. It's a different perspective based on letting go of the limitations of our programs and our belief systems. And the more you let go of them, the more you understand the higher perspectives, and you can see so much more. And when you listen to, I want to say channels like Cryon, who I adore, he's always talking about potentials, the potentials for this and that. When you're in a higher perspective, you can see potentials because you have the capability to tap into higher levels of consciousness, almost like you're tapping into a computer system that's all part of the field that surrounds you. That is a new set of skills within a higher level of consciousness. So that hopefully gives you a little bit of a taste for those of you who don't know. And I've had a lot of people ask me, what about 5D? Now, a lot of you that might listen to this will say, well, I know what 5D is. And you probably do. And this video is probably not for you. But there's a lot of people seeking that information. And I'm seeing a lot of light workers get very triggered because right now we are being asked to let go of our egos, to let go of that which separates us from everybody and everything. And when we're triggered, it's very easy to point the finger at another person. Well, they did this to me. And I'm seeing an awful lot of light workers who are still doing this. And that doesn't mean that they're not light workers. It just means that we all have more work to do. I know I do. I get triggered all the time. I think the difference between me and some people that I see in my life is that as soon as I'm triggered now, I stop. I won't get distracted by something that will distract me from how I'm feeling. I'll stop and say, you know what? I'd love to watch this movie, but I got triggered and I really need to go untrigger. Then I'll watch the movie. In other words, I make it my top priority to stop, release whatever it is, and usually there's such a sense of relief that comes from letting go of it that then I'm in a brand new flow, a brand new place, and that's like, oh, okay, now I'm ready to watch a movie, and I'm not running from something. I'm not stopping myself from, I'm not covering up and trying to distract myself from what triggers me. I guess that if I had any words of wisdom to offer, even the people that I know that are light workers in the community, and if you're finding yourself triggered, stop for a minute. As soon as you feel that feeling, that means you're triggered. Stop for a minute. Take a deep breath. And then just ask yourself, what just happened? What button do I have pressed that still needs healing? What's the button? What is it that I'm beating myself up for? What is it that I'm feeling guilty for that I haven't released and someone else is pointing out to me something about myself? Once you see that it really is something that's coming from inside of yourself, number one, you're easily able to look at the other people as helpmates along the way. Oh my God, thank you for pressing that button for me. Oh my God, you're my best friend for pressing that button for me because I just didn't know that that was still there. And then you can say to yourself, oh, it really doesn't hold any significance. Whatever it was that, if you really take a look at what presses your button and what button is pressed, you're going to find out that whatever you're telling yourself that makes you feel that way is folly. It's not true. If you literally came out and said the words to yourself, this is what I'm saying to myself, you go, well, that's just not true. That's because it's a program that's running. It's something that you picked up that isn't yours. It could be a record from someone else that you've met and exchanged energy with. It doesn't have to even be yours. It can be familial in your genealogy. It's just like a sweater that you don't want to wear anymore. Oh, this is really an ugly sweater. I think it's time to take it off. Throw it away. You don't have to wear the sweater. It's not yours. It never was yours to begin with. So that's just a little bit of my thoughts on triggers and 3D and 5D. And I'm really enjoying tapping into this information. I really hope that it's of benefit. Everything that I say is coming from my heart and full of love for everyone that listens to this or doesn't listen to this, in fact. I thank you for taking the time to listen to whatever I have to say. And of course, I always welcome your comments below. And I'm going to look and see if I can't find that 2D, 3D YouTube. It was really fascinating. I'm sure I can probably find it and I'll put it in there. But anyways, thanks a lot for listening. And I'm sure we'll be speaking again soon. Thank you.